Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys comparison video. Now today, finally the video that I promised you all the way back when we looked at the Scarlet Spider is here, the comparison video between all the PS4 Spider-Man suits and also a couple of movie suits just for good measure. Now if you do want to pick up your very own negative suit Spidey, he is in stock and up for pre-order for second batch right now with Philip Liu from ToysWonderland.com, and the link for that is down in the description below. And while you're down there, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as a brand new Hot Toys review or comparison video or even retro review goes live on the channel. Either way, what we're going to do now is start off with the negative suit Spidey compared to the oldest figure in the Spider-Man lineup, being the black suit Sam Raimi Spider-Man figure. Starting off with one of the oldest figures, here we have the black symbiote suit Spidey from Spider-Man 3. Now, even though the movie wasn't very well received, this figure is still exceptional, being an older release. Although you can see the body is starting to show its signs of age. First things first, he's impossible to get standing. Those ankles are so damn loose. I actually don't know what kind of black magic is being used to keep this thing standing upright. But as you can see, he doesn't really have a neck. His traps are a little bit underdefined, but he is still a bit of a chunky boy. He's got big legs, he's got big arms, and his torso is nice and wide. Now, his suit is a little bit baggy, especially in the crotch region. It likes to hang down a little bit, so when you're posing it, that means more bagginess in the suit, therefore more wrinkles, which is not ideal. But as an overall package, I still really like the way this guy looks, but compared to the negative suit, it's just night and day. The body proportions look way better, and as a sort of black suit Spidey in the collection, for me personally, this negative suit is definitely filling the void. Moving on to another older release, but still one of my personal favorites, this is of course the Amazing Spider-Man 1 Andrew Garfield figure. I actually really do like the way this guy looks. He's really nice and sleek, his body proportions look more in line with a real person, unlike that previous figure, and I do love the really vibrant red and blue of the suit, and it's also something completely different that we hadn't seen before. But that's of course down to the design of the movie suit, not really the figure, but then again the figure did capture it pretty darn well. Now he is still lacking that muscle definition, especially in the traps. His neck is sort of a little bit too long where his shoulders sit really low, but as an overall thing, just taking a step back, it actually looks not too bad. It is still, as I said, one of my personal favorites. Now he is also a little bit undersized, and I don't think Andrew Garfield is all that short, although correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below, but as you can see, he stands quite a significant amount shorter than the negative suit. I don't necessarily think that's exactly how it should be, but either way, it's still a really awesome piece. Moving on to the Amazing Spider-Man 2 figure, a lot of people's personal favorite, and it is definitely one of mine. It's a very comic book inspired look for Spidey, very comic book accurate. I've even seen people paint the eyes white to give it that more comic book feel. They've also increased the size on this guy. I don't know if that's necessarily accurate. I don't think Andrew Garfield grew in between films. I think that's Hot Toys just going back and correcting their mistake on the height. But as you can see, the proportions still look a little bit lanky, and I know he was that way in the movie. However, the lack of traps definition really does make his neck look a little bit too long. But either way, we're not really here to talk about the bodies. We just want to talk about the suits themselves. They are very different between the two. However, you can still see a bit of classic Spidey influence in the negative suit, of course, just the colors being inverted. Moving on to the Far From Home movie promo edition version of the Homecoming style Spidey suit. This is a really awesome release, and I'm glad it's one that I picked up because there were a couple of improvements, namely the ankles. You can't see that unsightly gap that the first one did have, so I'm really impressed that they went back and fixed that. Along with the seam on the top of the head, they cleaned it up just a little bit. The colors are also ever so slightly more vibrant. Now, as you can see, Tom Holland, being a smaller dude, is a smaller figure as well, and I think this works. Unlike Andrew Garfield, who was a little bit taller, I believe, this worked perfectly fine for Tom Holland. The proportions look accurate to him in the movies because, of course, this is a modern day Hot Toys piece, and of course you can place it alongside your PS4 Spider-Man figures because it was in the game, so this technically is accurate. Now, in terms of how they look side by side, I really do like the stark white contrast between the two, and I think it works really nicely on the shelf. Moving on to, of course, another figure that was technically in the game, or the suit at least, being the Iron Spider. Now, this is getting me all kinds of excited for when all of the other PS4 Spider-Man suits come out. I'm hoping for the Velocity suit that was teased at the Comic-Con, hoping for the classic Iron Spider as well, and why don't they go deep? Make them all, because it's going to be one hell of a line. Pose them next to your MCU Spider-Man, and it can sort of blend in as you move towards your MCU review shelf because these suits were in the game, and I love that. It really has that very slight connective tissue between the two properties. Now, as an overall piece, there is a big design difference between the two. The material's obviously completely different. The body proportions completely different as well. The advanced or negative suit, I should say, is much more bulky, and I really do like the juxtaposition between the two styles. Moving on to the first of the PS4 Spidey suits, here of course we have the SpiderPunk. Now, I don't think a hell of a lot of people picked up this figure, and that's a real shame because he is damn good. This is a really awesome figure and one that I'm very glad that I added to my collection. And of course, as you can see, the difference between the two is night and day. They are so vastly different. They are worlds apart in their design that I think this adds a little bit of visual differentiation to the shelf. And you've heard me say that a lot, but I think that's very important because you don't want to get bored looking at your collection. You want to have stuff that sort of plays and catches the eye ever so slightly, and this definitely does that. The spikes on the head, the overall look of the really sort of dark blue on the entire bodysuit, and of course that awesome guitar really works quite nicely. And I love having these two on the same shelf because they are so vastly different, and it obviously harkens back to not only classic Spider-Man design, but also going back and playing the game. Looking at these two standing here right now makes me want to run downstairs, pick up that PS4 controller, and start up Spider-Man PS4. Moving on to everyone's favorite figure from the PS4 line, here is the Scarlet Spider, and I don't blame you at all. This figure is totally awesome. This may very well be my favorite figure from the lineup as well. It's a toss-up between this guy in the negative suit and the advanced suit. I'm really struggling, but overall, I love the way this looks. It's so classic 90s inspired Spider-Man. Obviously, this is meant to be Ben Reilly, but then technically not because it's just a suit in the game. But either way, it's a classic look for Spidey. Absolutely love it. That really vibrant blue hoodie works so very nicely against the red bodysuit. There have also been a couple of customs where people have turned this into the Kane version of Spidey with the black logo. I really like how that looks. Check out Iron Geek 37 if you haven't already to take a look at those pictures. But overall, I am loving this line so far, and these two look spectacular together. And here we have it, the comparison that I'm sure you've all been waiting for, the negative suit versus the advanced suit figure. Now, technically, these two are identical, and Hot Toys have gone back and learnt the oldest trick in the book: take a figure, flip the colors, and release it again. And I can't blame them at all because that's exactly what they did in the game, and I love it. This guy looks different enough, and I said this in the review as well, he looks different enough to warrant picking them both up. Now, someone just asked me on Facebook whether I would pick up the advanced suit or negative suit over one another, and I'd have to go for, hands down, the advanced suit. It's more classic of a Spider-Man design, it was on the game cover, and it is more representative of the source material. However, if you can pick up both, or even if you did say to me that you like the negative suit more than the advanced suit, I wouldn't blame you at all because it is so damn unique, the colors are so very striking, and it really does pop on the shelf, and that's exactly what we're looking for. On the shelf, we want visual differentiation. We want stuff that doesn't all look the same. We want stuff that catches the eye, and let me just tell you, this negative suit absolutely does it. Just wrapping up on the PS4 negative suit Spidey comparison video. Now, I thought I'd include all of them in the same frame just so you can see what the line looks like so far. And don't worry, as I said, I will be continuing looks on this line as it progresses. If the Velocity suit comes out, if the Iron Spider suit comes out, and if any more are released, I will keep this series going because it's definitely entertaining for me to make, just seeing the difference between all the Spideys that have been released so far, compared, of course, to the latest version. I actually really enjoy making these videos, and I hope that you guys enjoy watching them. Now, if you do want to pick up any of these figures that you see in this frame right now, hit up the link down in the description below to head over to toyswonderland.com. Also, while you're down there, check out the links to 6 Scale Network, the brand new awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and participate in giveaways, with one going on right now for the Diecast Mark 7. Also, check out the link to Justin and Steph, our brand new second channel for behind-the-scenes videos, collection tours, toy hunts, and a hell of a lot more good stuff. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.